Hey there everybody, it is Ed. Welcome to this Solo Traveler RPG video. This is not episode number 8 of the Adventures of Anselm, however. This is something I'm calling a supplemental video, and I'll explain what I mean by that. At the end of the last episode, things were not looking good for Anselm, to put it mildly. If you haven't seen that, check that out. I'll put a link up here. You can check out the last episode. But suffice it to say that he had had an encounter with one of the spear beasts he had found in this ravine. And I realized something when I was getting ready to do the next episode, is that I had never really statted out the spear beast. Now, I came up with the idea of this jungle-like environment in the ravine and the spear beast just by rolling randomly on Mythic, and then when I rolled randomly there was an animal encounter. I did use the Traveler rules to kind of get an idea of what sort of creature it was, but I never went through the Traveler rules process of statting out the spear beast. And I also realized that I never really came up with the animal encounters. Take a step back. Traveler suggests that the GM come up with a series of animal encounter tables when your players go to a planet, and you should have an encounter table for each different environment that the PCs find themselves in. However, I didn't expect an environment when he came down to this ravine. I thought it was going to be a barren, lifeless, rocky ravine. I did not expect this lush jungle that they have found. Now, that's one of the great things about Mythic. One of the reasons I like using Mythic, because I never expected to find this. Totally came out of nowhere. Somebody mentioned that they like the Hollow World vibe, and I wish I'd have thought of that when I originally rolled this up, because I better believe there would have been some dinosaurs down here if I'd have thought about that at the time. Of course, I didn't. Anyway, so yeah, I was kind of caught a little off guard and didn't expect there to be any life in this ravine. But now that there is, I kind of feel like I should use the Traveler rules to create some animal encounter tables. He's seen some, the spear beast, the deer creature, the birds that almost caused him to crash. So I feel like maybe I should take this opportunity to actually create some animal encounter tables. So this episode is going to be a little more like the first episode I had where I created Anselm using the Traveler character creation rules, or the subsector creation rules when I created the subsector he's in now. So that is why this is a supplemental video, not an episode 8. Anyway, I think I've explained that enough. What we're going to do is we're going to take the Traveler book, our handy-dandy Traveler book, and we're going to come up with some animal encounters. And once again, we have these lovely tables. I'm really enjoying the Traveler book layout with these lovely tables, because Traveler is such a dense game. There's so much information in the text. Having these tables all on one double spread, super handy, super handy. But you find these on page 94 and 95. So let's get started. First thing we need to decide is what terrain type are we creating this encounter table for, and they do have jungle. I'm going to say that's going to be the only terrain is going to be in this ravine is going to be jungle. So an example of that is rainforest, and the type DM, when we roll for the animal type, will have a -3 dice modifier and a -2 size modifier, dice modifier. When rolling up the characters or the animal size. Size will determine like how heavy they are, how much they do potentially when they score a hit, and how many hits they can take before they're both unconscious and defeated. And if we look right here, we have a couple of different options for encounter columns. These are examples. They say you can make up your own, but they give you these examples. We have the 2 dice column and the 1 dice column. They say to use the 2 dice column if you want a wide variety of animals in an area, and 1 dice if maybe the player characters are only going to go through an area briefly. I have a feeling that with the diversity of life we've already found, I probably should use the 2 dice column, but since right now Anselm is only searching the area around the remains and the wreckage of the ISS Pursuit, I think I want to use the 1 dice column for that. I can see Anselm wanting to come back and do a much further survey of the area, so if I ever do that, if he gets a chance to do that, that's the big if he gets a chance to do this, he will come back, and I may use the 2 dice column for that. Anyway, so right now we're going to start, and we're going to start with a scavenger. That is the first entry on the list. The first thing we need to do is roll 2 dice, add them together on the animal type list. There's a column for herbivore, omnivore, carnivore, and scavenger. Since scavenger is the first one on that D6 table, we will roll for a scavenger, and I need to remember I have a -3 to my type roll because this is a jungle. So let's find out what we get. What kind of scavenger do we have? That is going to be a 6 plus 2, which is 8. Again, with the -3 type modifier, that's going to be a 5. So what is that? Alright then, so checking out here on our animal type table, looking at scavenger, a 5 is an intimidator. Okay, an intimidator. And the 1D, that's how many of these will show up. I guess they run in packs. So let's roll for 1 dice and see how many of those will he encounter, if he encounters those. How many intimidators run around in the pack? 2. So it's a pair of intimidators that will show up. Alright, let me make a note of this. I am creating a table right now, a D6 table. So we're going to have 2 intimidators that will show up. And an intimidator. Now, in the Traveler book, in case you're not familiar with what these different types of animals are, they do have really good definitions. So an intimidator scavenger. Scavengers which establish their claim to food by frightening or threatening other animals are termed intimidators. Their standard procedure is to approach a kill and force other animals away by appearing to be a threat. A typical Terran intimidator is the coyote. So I can imagine coyotes, maybe even like hyenas or something like that. So probably something that's smaller, but there are a couple of them, and maybe it's one of those things that they appear to be a threat, and while one of them is threatening the kill of the predator or whatever has taken the animal, the other one comes and drags it away. Maybe that's something that can happen. So let's check that out. So it's good to know. Let's do a little bit more finding out about these. So it is an intimidator scavenger. Now we need to roll for the animal attributes. There is an animal attribute table to see if it has anything special. As you can see here on the animal attributes table, they have specific charts for beach, marsh, river, sea, swamp, and other. So we're going to roll on other, because since we're rolling on jungle, it'll be a 2-die roll. And a 4. So these are just probably, 4-legged beasties, again, that poach other things' kills. Now we're going to find out what is their size, which again determines how tough they are, how many hits do they take before they're unconscious or dead, and can modify how many wounds they can inflict on somebody. We'll also roll for the weapons they have and if they have any armor. Let's do that now. This is the animal size and weaponry table right here. So we have rolled 2 dice. This is the one where we need to remember our -2 dice modifier. So let's see, what do we have here? Oh, wow, 11 minus 2, that's going to be 9. 9, that's going to be quite big, actually. You do roll 1 time for the weight, the hits, and the wounds. So, and I guess it kind of makes sense. These are large. They're intimidators, but there's only 2. They run around in pairs, so maybe it makes sense they're large. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, so checking out the animal sizes and weaponry chart. 400. And the hits are 6D and 3D, my heavens. And wounds are plus 2D. Alright, so that means what other kind of weapon they have, they will add 2 dice to their damage. These things are terrifying already. Holy cow. And this is how many hits it can take. The first number, 6D, that's how many hits it can take before it becomes unconscious. And then the 3D, how many hits it can take before it is killed. So, with a double handful of dice, actually I played champions, this is no big deal. Anyway, that's why I have so many D6s. Let's see, how many hits can this thing take before it becomes unconscious? Okay, well, so we have 10, 11, 14, 17, 19. And then we have 3D to see how many hits it can take before it is killed after it's unconscious. So let's roll that. Alright. And we get 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 hits before it is destroyed. Very good. And we also have plus 2D for wounds. So we're going to roll now for the weaponry. Whatever weapon we get, we will refer to the weapons table in the combat section, and we'll add 2D to whatever they say the standard type of weapon it has, the type of, claws, teeth, fangs, whatever it might have. We'll add 2 dice to that. So again, this could be a super deadly creature. Let's find out. All right, we're going to roll once again 2 dice to see the weaponry. All right. So 7. 7 minus 2 is going to be a 5. And looking under weapons, a 5 is hooves. Not what I expected. I did not expect that. Let me double check. Okay, weaponry, carnivore gets a plus 8. Yeah, right over here. It says carnivores, omnivores, and... Oh, this is not a carnivore. This is a scavenger, though, isn't it? That's right. This is a hooved scavenger. Wow. All right. So yeah, we're back to hooves. Yeah. Is that what that says? 5. No, horns and teeth. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Horns and teeth. You have to be able to read the tables to really make sense of a lot of it. So yeah, it is horns and teeth. And going to page 46, where we have the weapons matrix for personal combat, I can see that teeth gives us damage of 2D. 2D, so we add 2D, so they're going to have 4D damage. I'm going to say their primary weapon is teeth. I'm going to say they have teeth. Yeah, so they have teeth, and it does 4D. 4D of damage. Good heavens, that's a lot. Now we're going to see if they have any special kind of armor, and I think the scavengers do get a specific dice modifier for that. Let's head back to page 94. Yes, I think right here it says, what, carnivore. Scavenger gets a +1 for the armor. All right. All right, so 2D +1 gives us a 10. And a 10 is, ooh, it has the same as jack armor. So this is quite a scavenger with the, what I consider to be kind of high hits and some armor and pretty wicked teeth. So, all right, it does have jack armor. And there are a couple other things we need to determine. We do have a chance for almost all animals that we roll up to attack, to flee, and we need to find out how fast are they. Are they faster, slower? What is their general speed? And you find that on page 95 in the Traveler book. And checking out the Traveler book here, we're looking for a scavenger, which is right here, an intimidator. So we roll 1D +2 for its chance to attack, a 1D +1 for its chance to flee, and for its speed, a 1D -4, minimum of 1. All right, so let's roll those and see what we end up with. So first I'm going to roll for the odds for this scavenger. Couldn't think of the word scavenger. The odds of the scavenger to attack. So it's 1D5 +2 is 7. So attack is 7. What that means is when you encounter this creature, you will roll 2 dice, and if you roll a 7 or more, this animal will attack. That's what that means. Then we have to roll to see what are the odds it will flee, and fleeing is a 1D +1. So 2 + 1 is 3, so a flee of 3. And how fast is this creature? That is a 1 dice -4. It is 3 - 4 is -1, but minimum speed is 1. And speed is in relation to like human speed. So since it's 1, it is 1-to-1 speed. So it's about as fast as a human. So speed of 1. All right. And that is our first animal. Not too tough. Do have to do some jumping around. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do. So now let's go to the next one. I think the next on our list is an herbivore. Yep, checking out the 1 dice column. Yeah, number 2. That's an herbivore. So once again, we will go back to the animal types table and find our herbivores. Again, remembering our -3 modifier. What kind of herbivore is this? 3 -3 is a 0. This is a filter herbivore, and there is another 1D next to that. So let's see how many filter herbivores do we have? 6. All right, let me make notes of this. Filter, there are 6 of them in a group. Again, just so I remember exactly what a filter herbivore is, let's turn over here to page 92. Herbivores, filters. Herbivores which pass the environment through their bodies are termed filters, like grazers, which move to food, or unlike grazers, which move to food. Filters move a flow of water or air through themselves in order to gain food. Generally, filters suck. I'm sorry, I shouldn't read the continue on. Generally, filters suck, trip, push, or pull anything, even animals, at close range into a digestive sac. Ugh. Inflicting automatic wounds of 1D per 50 kilograms or less of animal mass. Filters are solitary and generally slow-moving, but we have 6. We have a mess of them. That's a southern term, a mess of them. They will attack reflexively, as indicated above, succeeding against creatures or adventurers with a throw of 6 or better. Prompt struggle by adventurers will secure an escape throw of 7 or better. DM of +2 for each companion assisting. Okay, so give me an idea. Terran filters are generally aquatic, such as the barnacle. So this is a jungle. It's not in the ocean. I'm going to say this is probably a slow-moving type creature. Well, we'll roll to see the speed later on, but I'm going to say this is a type of creature that does, yeah, it does draw things through it. Interesting. Wow. This is giving me some ideas, but I'm going to roll some more, maybe clarify some of the things that are currently going on in my imagination. Now we should roll on the animal attributes table. If this turns out to be a flyer, that would be interesting. It sort of flies through. I can imagine it flying through, having like this big sail type apparatus on its body. It opens up and it passes things through, and it flies into you. Then it could hurt creatures. Maybe. There's a lot of stuff going on here in my brain. Let me see what we get though. That is a 4, which means nothing. So it is probably it is a terrestrial creature. It's not aquatic. It is not a swimmer. It's not a flyer. It is something that moves around on the ground. I imagine it'd be kind of slow. Again, we'll roll for that. See what it ends up being. Let's go ahead and roll for the animal size and weaponry. Now we do have a few modifiers for that. Let's check the book. Alright, so animal size. That's based on planetary size, which is interesting because I never actually rolled for the size of this planet. You know, when you roll up a subsector, you roll for the main inhabited planet in a parsec, but not for this one. So not exactly sure what size it is. I'm just going to say it's the size it needs to be to not invoke another die modifier. That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, but we do have a weaponry modifier for an herbivore and armor for an herbivore. All right, so let's roll this and see what we get. Here we go. This is going to be a minus. No minus. No, this is just a 2D roll, but we do have a -2 because it's jungle, so remember that. -2 for the jungle, but 3 + 1 is 4 +... Oh, it's a 2, so size 2. Size 2 is a weight of 3. I think it's in kilograms, possibly? Let me double check. It does talk about that on page 90. So yeah, animal size is expressed on the table in kilograms. So it is 3 kilograms, so relatively small. I think 3 kilograms is like 6.5, closer to 7 pounds. So yeah, it is going to be relatively small. Let's find out what else it has. It has a 1D and a 1D for hits and -2 for wounds. So it's not particularly maybe deadly for something human-sized like Anselm. Possibly. Let's go ahead and make a note of that. Actually, first of all, let me put down the weight. It is 3 kilograms. Let me write down, let's do the hits. So it can take 3 hits before being unconscious, and 6 before dying. Let's see what kind of weapons this thing has. This will be interesting. Weaponry for an herbivore is a -3. So 2D -3. That is 5, 6, 7 -3 is a 4. And that weaponry is going to be hooves. Huh, interesting, all right. So it does have hooves. Let me go back to the personal combat table. And hooves is 2D. 2D damage. Because of its size, it has a -1D. So only 1D of damage. So, again, I see these things as being very small. I see them being... you know maybe what they're doing? Maybe they're filtering out pollen, maybe insects. Maybe they're like a type of... I don't want to say a spider, but something like that has a web or some sort of mucous membrane, maybe something sticky, but it sort of goes through very slowly, and as things go through, as insects go through, they get trapped and they get eaten that way. That's why it's a herbivore, but it's an herbivore. It doesn't eat creatures, it eats herbs. It's a grass eater. Okay, so change. Maybe it just strains out pollen. That could be interesting, though. Maybe there's some kind of pollen here that is harmful to people. Maybe they strained it out. That's something to think about. That's something to ponder a little further. Let's go ahead and finish rolling, though, before I get too far down that road. So that is hooves, which is 1D. And I probably should make a note of that. Let's make a note of that. That's hooves. The last one was teeth. There we go. There we go. Let us now see. Does it have any armor? As an herbivore, it gets a +2 for that. So let's see. Does it have any armor? A 10 plus 2 is 12. And a 12 is going to be... Oh, plus 6. Aha! Now we have a special case. If we roll a plus 6, we're supposed to roll again with a plus 6 modifier. So let's do that. 2d6 plus 6, see what we get. So that's 9. Plus 2 again, I think, still, because it is an herbivore. So 9 plus 2 is 11, and 11 says no. So it has no armor. No armor whatsoever. Now let's see if it will attack, if it will flee, or how fast it is. So let's see here. So this time with the filter herbivore, to attack, if possible, flee 1d plus 2 and 1d minus 5. Minimum of 0. Okay, so these could be something that are stationary. That's interesting. Let's look down here. What does it mean if possible? If possible. There it is. If possible indicates that a filter will attack if it possibly can. So to attack, if possible, that's special. Let's see how likely is it to flee. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5 or better to flee. And now for the speed of the creature. 6 minus 5. Oh, 1. So it does move. And it can move about as fast as a human. So that's interesting. A speed of 1. Yeah, again, these are herbivores, so I don't think, like most herbivores, they're not going to be terribly dangerous to humans in that they won't be hunting them as food, like the spear beast might, or has, but they might be a danger if people get between them and sort of filtering out this pollen that maybe is in the air. Oh, okay, you know, I mentioned that there is a mist, a general mist that pervades the entire area, and that does create a cloud layer at the top of this ravine that we know hampers, trying to say those two words together, but stops radio waves and signals and things like that, or at least it really dampens them so you can't get signals out, you can't penetrate it to really do a lot of surveying from orbit. Maybe something that's in that mist is fungal. Maybe it's a fungal thing, and maybe these herbivores filter out that's what they live on. I like that. I like that. That may be the case. All right, let's continue on, though. We've only got 2. We got 6. 2 out of 6. We have, 4 more left, right? And looking at the next, it is another herbivore. So let's go back to the herbivore table and see what we get. So again, the type DM -3. What is this herbivore? 4 plus 5 is 9, minus 3 is 6, and 6 is intermittent. What is an intermittent herbivore, pray tell? Herbivores which do not devote full time to eating are termed intermittents. They tend to be solitary. Intermittents usually freeze when an encounter occurs, fleeing if attacked by a larger animal. All right, typical terran intermittents are the chipmunk and the elephant. Talk about two wide, very different type of examples. But I guess that's good because it gives you an idea. It doesn't have to be a chipmunk. It doesn't have to be an elephant. It could be one or either or anything in between. So they are usually solitary and they, they don't eat all the time like a grazer would. All right, excellent. Good to know. Good to know. So that is intermittent. Let me write that down. And once again, let's see if it has any special attributes. That is an 8, which again, no, it has no other attributes, so it is a regular walk around the ground type creature. Let's check out the animal sizes and weaponry. This is again an herbivore, so the size is going to be a -2 because of our jungle terrain modifier. Oops. Pardon me. We're going to roll that one again. I missed the dice tray. Yeah. Alright, this is great, YouTube. Alright, let's see. What are we going to have this time? 4 plus 2 is 6. -3 is going to be... Oh, no, -2, right? Yeah, -2. That is going to be a 4. So a 4 is 12 kilograms. So not quite elephant size, but yeah. It's going to be 12 kilograms. So decent size type herbivore. And it is going to have 2D and 2D. So let's see how many hits it has. That is going to be 9 to begin with. And how many more to kill it? Oh, 12. All right, so 12 to actually kill this thing. And what kind of weapons might this herbivore have? Again, we have our -3 for our weaponry DM. That's going to be 8 minus 3 is 5. And 5 is, yep. Horns and teeth. Okay, I'm slightly inclined to believe this is going to be more horns than teeth, because it is a herbivore. I think originally when I rolled up those deer, they were intermittent herbivores. I didn't make note of that at the time, but maybe that's what we're rolling up right now, the little deer. We'll see. Let's go back to the personal combat chart. And horns, where are horns? There we go. Horns are a 2D. So 2D of damage, and they did not get any bonus damage because of their size. Right, they did not. So 2D in damage for their horns. And do they have armor? Again, we have a +2 rather, for an herbivore. So do they have armor? 11 plus 2 is going to be 13. And that's going to be, mesh +1. These are hearty little, tough little devils, aren't they? Mesh +1. And +1 just means that whatever bonus mesh normally gives versus a weapon, this gives 1 better. So, mesh +1. Makes sense. Let's make a note of that. Mesh +1. Tough little guys. All right, now let's find herbivore intermittent. So 1d +3 for attack, 1d +3 for flee, and a 1d -4 for speed. What do we get? For the attack, 3 +3 is 6. To flee, 1d +3. 4 + 3 is 7. So these things are more likely to attack than they are to run away from you. I mean, not a lot, but it's kind of a 50. When you see these things, it's like, maybe it's going to come after me, maybe it'll run away. I don't know. Could be either. And when they run away or run after you, how fast are they? Let us find out, shall we? Oh, a 6. My heavens. Okay, those are pretty quick. 6 minus 4. So they are 2. So that means they would be twice as fast as a human. So they could definitely run you down if they decided they want to attack. Oh my. Interesting. Speed of 2. These are quick little things. Or not even little things. They're 12 kilograms. So yeah, not tiny little things at all. If it had been like chipmunk size, like attack chipmunk, that'd have been hilarious. Anyway, let's continue on. What is our next entry on the D6 table? And we have another herbivore. So once again on the herbivore table with our -3, that's going to be 6 minus 3 is another 3. That is another intermittent herbivore. Do we have any special attributes for this intermittent herbivore? A 10. Ooh, actually that might be... Yes, we do. That is a flyer. This is a flying creature. Awesome. I'm glad. This may be the flock of birds that Anselm encountered when he went flying over some of the treetop canopy. So these are flyers. Yes, and we did roll a 10. That means it's a flyer. It has a -6 here. That is another dice modifier we will add when we roll for the animal size. That is trying to make flyers smaller. Smaller creatures, or flying creatures, would be smaller, is what I'm trying to say. So let's roll that. So we have a size DM of -2 because of jungle. We have another -6 because it's a flyer. So we have a -8 in total. Let's see exactly how big these things are. And this is going to be a 2. -8 is -6. I think 0 or 1 potentially would be the absolute smallest we could get to. And it sort of shows these as being solitary creatures. We didn't roll any of the entries that would give us a flock of them. So these particular birds are solitary, and they are herbivores. 1 means the weight is 1. Let's make a note of that. 1 kg. The hits are 1d, and it says 0. So if you knock this thing out, you've effectively killed it. So how many hits does this thing take? 2. Rather fragile creatures. Okay, and wounds are -2. So it has -2 to whatever kind of damage it can inflict. And let us roll for that. Again, the weaponry for an herbivore is -3. I don't think I also add the -6 for this. I think I just used the -2. I think the -6 was only for the size of the creature. But this is going to be the -2. And that is going to be a 4 in total. 4, again, is hooves. I'm gonna say hooves is the same thing as beak. I'm going to say they're comparable. And looking back at hooves gives us again, a 2D, but with the size as a minus 2D, so it effectively cannot hurt a human. I mean, like an animal, a small bird, if you grabbed one, they could peck you and, hurt you, but they're not going to do lasting damage more than likely. So, for effectively, it could do 0 damage. And does it have armor? That's going to be, doesn't have armor. It actually says here, animal armor DMs right here in the book. Yeah, right here, flyers and trifibians never have armor, so no armor for a little flying bird. And so now we check out the chance to attack, the chance to flee, and the speed. I also just realized something here. It says herbivores would flee, then attack, and then the speed. So if it's an omnivore, carnivore, scavenger, they actually might attack first. So you put the A number first. For herbivores, it's opposite. So the thing I just rolled up actually might flee before it attacked you. But still, 50-50 chance. Let's find out about this bird, though. A 5. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So pretty good chance it's going to flee. So we'll start with flee. 8 or better. Now let's roll for attack. That is also a D plus 3. So 6. Attack of 6. And a speed of 3 minus 4. But a minimum of 1. So a speed of 1. There we go. And we move on. Next is an omnivore. Ooh. This could be interesting. What kind of things do we have for omnivores? And with our dice modifier of minus 3 for the jungle, what is this omnivore? 10 minus 3 is going to be a 7. A 7 omnivore is going to be a hunter. Ooh, and 1D's worth. Okay, what is that going to be? How many hunters? 3 of them. All right. So 3 hunters. Looking in the Traveler book, page 93, the animal definitions. Hunters, animals which display a greater tendency toward carnivorous behavior, are termed hunters. In most respects, they are similar to small or inefficient chasers. Typical Terran hunters are bears or humans. So this is something around that. They will hunt you but not chase you, is what I'm kind of getting. Let's see, what's some more information we can find out about this omnivore hunter. 6, 7, 8. That is no special ability, so again, regular terrestrial, walking around, not flying type creature. Let's determine the size and weaponry. And again, we have a minus 2 for our size because of our jungle setting. So what kind of size is this creature? 4 minus 2 is a 2. That is a weight of 3 kilograms. So not a huge hunter, but there's 3 of them. So again, these run in packs. Runs in a group. So 3 kilograms. The hits are 1D and 1D. So I will roll. The red one will be for how many hits it takes to be unconscious, and the green will be how many hits it takes to die, to be killed. 5 and 4. So 5 hits for unconscious, 4 hits to kill. Let us now figure out what kind of weapons it has. And now we have animal weaponry DMs, and omnivore gets a plus 4. What is that going to be? 12. Oh, heavens. 12 plus 4 is going to be 16. What is that on the list? 16 is going to be teeth plus 1. Urgh. Yeah, this thing's going to have some wicked teeth. Wicked teeth. But because of... Let me make sure I make a note of this. Because of the size, which is the 3 kilograms, it has a minus 2 dice for its damage. So teeth plus 1. Teeth on the personal combat table is 2D. So it's 2D, but it's minus 2D because of its size. No, minus 1D. Okay, so it's 1D. So it does 1D in damage, in teeth. And plus 1 is a dice modifier, so it's very effective at biting. Being a hunter makes sense. And finally, does it have armor? 12. And do we get a dice modifier for omnivores? Looks like we do not. So a 12 for armor is, oh, another +6. So that means we roll the 2 dice again and add 6 to see what we get. So what do we get? That is going to be 10 plus 6 is 16. Okay, what is that? 16 is cloth. So it has whatever skin it has, it is as effective as cloth armor. Cloth armor. Now we need to do the attack, flee, and its speed. A hunter omnivore, so has 1 dice for attack, 3, so likely to attack. So 3 plus for attack. Flee is 1d plus 2, 4, and the speed is going to be 1d minus 4, and that's a 2. So it is also faster than humans. So very likely to attack, but equally likely to flee. I guess maybe if you do some damage to it, if you're gonna start shooting at it or attacking it, then it'll quickly flee. Although, thinking about this, I think what happens is that first you roll the attack. If you don't roll that it attacks, I think you roll next to see if it flees. I'm not sure about that. I will double check that. Alright, and finally, the last one on our list is the carnivore. We know something about that already. Yeah, so the last entry is the carnivore, which, as I say, we know something about already. I am going to forgo rolling on the animal types table. We know that this is a trapper. I'm going to forego the animal attributes table. We know that it doesn't fly or anything like that. That's really the only option. So I'm going to go down to the size, weaponry, and God help us if it has armor. So we're going to see how tough is this spear beast on the off chance that Anselm gets into a position where he can do something about what's happened to him. Again, watch the episode if you haven't seen what happened to Anselm at the end. Let's see. So 6 plus 3. That's going to be a -2 for our jungle dice modifier. That is going to be a 7. A 7. Ooh, that's pretty big. That is going to be 100 kilograms. So that is a trapper. It is 100 kilograms. That also means that it has 5 dice for its hits. All right, well, let's see what that's going to be. Let's roll these 5 dice. Oops, almost dropped it. All right. What is this going to be? Okay, not as bad as it could have been. We have 10, 17, 18. So 18 hits before it becomes unconscious. Potentially quite a few, depending on what you hit him with. And then after that, there's 2d for damage. How much extra does it take to totally kill the beast? Another 6. All right, so once they go unconscious, ooh, it's almost like they have one of those a frenzy, almost like a shark type thing, that they're just going and going and going and going. But once you knock them out, they're almost done for. So yeah, that's good. I don't know. That means like 24 points before they're absolutely like gone. Anyway, let's write that down. It is 6 points. What kind of weapons? We already know it's a spear. I said it was a stinger, so I'm going to write that down. I'm not going to roll for that. That is a stinger. I also said that it was paralytic. It is a paralytic venom that it administers with the stinger. And I have just determined, trying to use the Traveler rules, I'm going to say it's an endurance roll to succumb to the venom or to come out of the effects of the venom. So every so often, Anselm, if he's not eaten, kind of gave away something right there, Anselm will have to roll to, or anybody who's attacked will have to roll their endurance roll to overcome the venom if they're struck, or to come out of the paralytic state that the venom put you in. So that's what I'm right. Again, not going to roll for that. That is exactly what it's going to be. Let's see, does it have any armor, though? First of all, let me write stinger. So stinger, and now let's see if this creature has any armor. So 2 dice. That's going to be a 9, and 9 means no, it has no armor. So thank goodness for that. Now let's give it the stats of the attack, the flee, and how fast is it. We know that it will attack if it has surprise. We found that out last time. So it will attack if it has surprise. What is the chance that it will flee? That could become important at some point. A trapper, 1d plus 2 for flee. 3 plus 2 is a 5, so flee a 5 or better. And then what is the speed of this creature? That is 1d minus 5. A minimum of 0, so this can be extremely sedentary creature. 5 minus 5 is 0. Yeah, so this creature, I'm going to say it can move. I'm going to say that it's not immobile, but I'm going to say that it moves very slowly. It is not, that is why it's a trapper. It is not fast. It has developed, it has evolved into trapping creatures with its venom, with its long spear tongue, so it does not have to move fast. It sort of waits in one spot, whether it's inside of the wrecked spaceship or by the river's, the lake's edge, or somewhere like that. It finds sort of a secluded area, and creatures, as they happen by, it will spear them, poison them, paralyze them, and then draw them in with that tongue. It's almost like a spear that they can sort of draw back in. So that's how they hunt. So they don't have to be fast. They can get away if you threaten them, but they're very slow. They're not going to chase you down like a leopard or a tiger. Or tigers? Do tigers chase you down? I think they do. Anyway, lions. That's what I meant. Anyway, so that's what you have found out. So now we have a full animal encounter table, and it tells us a little bit more about this environment. I'm really intrigued by that filter herbivore that maybe filters out some pollen, some sort of fungal pollen that is prevalent in this ravine. I find that very interesting, and I may have to add that. I remember that as he's searching later on, if he gets the chance to. And there we have our animal encounter table using the Traveler book. Hope that was informative and slightly enjoyable. Next episode, we will see what has happened to Anselm. Will he get out of this precarious predicament he's in, and what will happen with that Imperial Zerasian fighter that is hovering right above the ISS Raven? We shall find out next time, episode 8 of The Adventures of Anselm. Please feel free to like, subscribe, bell icon, all those wonderful things. You know how YouTube works, and I will see you next time.